To call this meeting to order of the Polk County Board of Commissioners. Today is March 28th. The time is 9 a.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Are there any comments for items not on this agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 14th?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a proclamation proclaiming the month of March 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Would you like me to read this proclamation now, or would you like to speak? Whatever works for you. Good morning.
Morning.
You won't even know we know who you are. Just say your name.
My name is Abby Warren, Polk County. And I'm Bonnie Breyer from Casa, Polk County. Great. Well, thank you so much for having us. We are excited to be here and talk about the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. We are really excited to be able to offer so many amazing services to families through family engagement and different opportunities to get families engaged in the things that we have going on in the community. I'll talk really quickly about Mid-Valley Parenting and the Polk County Resource Center and some of the things we have going on. And then we'll pass it over to Bonnie to talk about some of the things that CASA is doing for this month. First, we have our Fam Jam event that happens at the end of April as a big celebration, not only for family engagement, where families get connected to really important community resources, but also the importance of getting registered for kindergarten. We have a lot of our Polk County schools that are going to be there on site registering folks for kindergarten, getting families there, getting them connected to other resources that day. And then before leading up to Fam Jam, we have a play box where families register for a free box that comes straight to their door. They don't even have to put on their clothes. They can be right in their pajamas, grab a fun box of goodies. And as a family, they get to be engaged in these themed boxes each week. So each week we'll have a fun, educational, but also really fun activity that families get to be engaged in. We already have registration filled in about an hour for that program this year. So we were we were so excited to see it fill so quickly, and it just really shows us that families are excited to get engaged in that programming. Along with some of those fun pieces, we also have our regular evidence-based parent education series happening throughout the month of April and beyond. We're opening a couple of spring series, including a couple of series in Spanish, so that folks can really access this important content wherever they may be geographically. We have some online content, some in-person content, so we really want to make it accessible and engaging for folks that want to get connected. So lots of really things happening, and we know that the more engagement families have, the more invested they are in their communities, the better outcomes we're going to see on a lot of these fronts, including instances of child abuse and neglect. So we're excited to be able to engage our families, support them. That also includes our partners at the Resource Center that do some of that one-on-one supporting of families, connecting with basic needs, and even going above and beyond and connecting with some of those long-term supports. So that's just a little bit about what we're doing. Do you want to talk a little bit about CASA?
Wow.
You have a lot going on today.
So Bonnie, you don't need to cover your white so fast.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to start with, we are really excited to say that we adopted a room at DHS, the visitation rooms. And so we've been working on that. We painted this last weekend and filled it up with some fun stuff for the kids. It was just more of adopt a room, and they just needed some makeovers. And we just really want our visits with our kids and our parents to be the best that they can be. So that's really exciting, and we're very proud of that. So, and then for April, Child Abuse Prevention Month, we are doing Pinwheel for Prevention again. So we're doing Pinwheel Gardens, where we're getting those out through Polk County. We did 40 gardens. We got those filled up pretty quick, and then went to the West Salem Business Association meeting, and we're gonna put 15 gardens in West Salem. So really exciting. There was some great connections at that meeting. So we're doing that. And then on Saturday, we are doing our 3rd annual Pinwheel for Prevention. We're planting our garden up along Main Street. We're going to do 135 pinwheels, which represents the children that we served in 2022. And so that's 135. And so come by and grab a pinwheel and stick it in the ground. It's just real quick. And then also we're doing an open house and recruitment event. So come in and meet the staff, see what we do, and yeah, get a little tour of our office. That is noon to 3 this Saturday. And that's for April. That's what we're doing. So anyways, I appreciate you all for being here and what you do. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you very much.
Appreciation is all ours. Thank you for what you do for our communities and our families and our kids.
Thank you. Who's reading it?
I'll read it. My pleasure to read the proclamation now in the matter of proclaiming the month of April 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas Oregon's future prosperity depends on nurturing the health and development of over 1 million children currently living, growing, and learning within our many diverse communities. And whereas research shows that safe and nurturing relationships and engaging in stable environments improve brain development and child well-being, while neglectful or abusive experiences in unstable or stressful environments increase the odds of poor childhood outcomes. And whereas the abuse and neglect of children can cause severe, costly, and lifelong problems affecting all of our society, including physical and mental health problems, school failure, and criminal behavior. And whereas individuals, businesses, schools, and faith-based and community organizations must make children a top priority and take action to support the physical, social, emotional, and educational development and competency of all children. And whereas during the month of April, Polk County, along with community partners, will be engaging families in a coordinated effort to prevent child abuse and neglect by promoting awareness of healthy child development, positive parenting practices, and concrete support families need within their communities for a month of play and family-friendly activities. And now therefore, the Polk County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim the month of April 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and urge all residents to engage in activities whose purpose is to strengthen families and communities to provide the optimal environment for healthy child development. Thank you. So much. Okay, next up on the agenda is an update on the district attorney's office. Mr. Felton, would you please join us?
We're really excited.
Yeah, it looks like you cleared the room, Aaron. How many off?
Had I been here, I assumed everyone was here to hear my words. Filled them either.
I should have required it. I'm sorry.
No. It's my humility campaign for April. But thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for the beautiful proclamation, because as is goes without saying, that it's wonderful to highlight the efforts, but as you know, those groups in my own office engage in child abuse prevention efforts throughout the year, every month throughout the year. But it's great to highlight through the month of April the efforts of those community partners. And I like to have my own efforts in our office through our child abuse multidisciplinary team. Everybody works hard to prevent child abuse in so many ways. And this board's efforts, both in funding those very efforts in different ways, highlighting them and supporting so many community partners in Polk County really does make a difference. And April is full also in observations. It's also, as you know, it is Crime Victims' Rights Week at the end of April, which is something that my victims' rights advocates are going to be doing some observances. That's where we do the flags as well. And that was going to be part of my presentation as well, because April is one of those months where there are many things to highlight efforts, good things that are happening to prevent abuse and crime and different things happening in our community, all of which are supported by this body. So thank you for that. Again, thank you for the opportunity to appear in front of the commission just to talk about and update you on some of the things going on in the district attorney's office. And so I'll hit a few high points and of course take questions because I don't hear everything. I know that in talking to you were out talking to your constituents, you hear different questions that I hope I can address. So you can go back to folks in the community and answer those questions or questions you may have in your own mind that have come up since last we've met. But I am pleased to report that I have good news in terms of the hiring front. We've been able to make 2 new hires, I think since last we met. And one of which is starting next month on the 3rd of April. We hired a gentleman who has a bar ticket, which is terrific. So he'll be able to start right off the bat. His name is Garrett Llewellyn. We've hired him at the DDA 1 level, so it'll be an entry level position. And we'll start him on the misdemeanor development process. And so that'll be great news. He has some experience in the civil sector. And so he wants to get into the criminal side and learn the litigation and trial practice area, which is certainly what we can do and what we do for folks. And so he was very impressive during the interview process. And so we look forward to having him on board. We have hired someone who is not yet out of law school, but she's graduating soon. And after she passes the bar this summer, she will be joining us. Kaylee Hudson is her name, and she is also a member of the Grand Ronde tribe. And she's very excited to begin her practice in an area close to her tribal home. So, and she also very impressive during the interview process. And what I always tell folks who apply to us and interview with us is we're selective in the folks that we seek to interview and invite to interview. We don't interview every single person that applies, obviously, because we don't like to waste anyone's time. And so we always have a very small interview pool of those who are most competitive. These folks rose to the top of that. And so I look forward to having them on board soon. So good news. So I say, I think we may be fully staffed on paper, at least at this point. So that is good news. I did want to highlight some of the legislation and I will bring those folks as they are aboard so that you can meet them personally. Hopefully bring them to a meeting perhaps in the future so they can see how this process works as well. Because I always tell folks, the one thing about this job, it is a public process. Everything we do is a public process, and folks need to be aware it's public, and we serve a community in a very public manner in what we do. And that's an important component of what we do, to be mindful of that. And I think that's a constructive thing. I just want to highlight some of the legislation that's going through Salem right now, in particular related to, I think that counties and commissioners are aware of already, and highlight what you do. The PERS funding for police and fire, that is something that will impact potentially, if it ultimately becomes law, that the deputy district attorneys and elected district attorneys being added to the police and fire section of PERS. That passed the House Judiciary Committee unanimously, and that's gone on down now to the Ways and Means process as well. So again, there are many more hearings and challenges to that, whether that may be modified or go through. I know that's something that Chair Gordon, that you have been involved with, and the entire commission has been involved with. I know that you, particularly with your work at the BOC, have been intimately involved with that process as well, but it cleared one stage of the process, now goes down to more intensive phase of the process, but it did get a unanimous vote out of the House Judiciary Committee. There is a bill in terms of medical examiners, which I think that I know Mr. Hanson and I had a conversation about. I don't know whether I've had direct conversations with any commissioners about it, but there is, the state medical examiner right now who is constrained as everyone is throughout the state, has put a bill in which would restrict the services they're providing in terms of not only autopsies that they do, but the services they do in terms of medical examiner services. And just an example would be right now, For some counties, the state medical examiner, I refer to folks working out of Portland and Clackamas County in particular, that's where their offices are. There are state medical examiners in other parts of the state, in the southern region part of the state as well, but primarily county sends its business for autopsies through the Clackamas office right now, and the Portland Medical Examiner, which also serves Multnomah County. And there's a huge volume of business in terms of autopsies that comes through Portland. And obviously there's a reason why they have a large volume of business. We send obviously less up there in terms of our business. But Portland also has the state medical examiner act as its medical examiner for sign off on death certificates and that sort of thing. We do not. We employ an individual, Dr. Stephen Fletcher, to do that for us. And we have, as you know, a very, very robust deputy medical examiner program that runs through my office that is budgeted for by the county. And that has worked, that has been in place since I became the elected, and that has worked very, very well, and very efficiently. And I don't want to change a thing. But other counties don't have that. And this proposal has caused quite a bit of consternation for other counties. So it is kind of, and it also, there is disagreement as to how this affects the authority of the elected district attorney to order an autopsy or not. And so that's caused quite a bit of back and forth with some of my colleagues and the proponent. It's been proposed through Oregon State Police. That's where the state medical examiner is housed by statute. I can tell you it has caused somewhat less consternation for me personally, because some of the changes that are being proposed in the bill, we've been doing for a long time. We've had a very positive working relationship with the state medical examiner in terms of autopsies we need. When we've needed one, we've had conversations and we've been able to work it out. I have not had to exercise my statutory authority ever. We've had frank conversations, I will tell you, sometimes out of the side of the road in the middle of the night, but still. But I think there have been modifications to that, and they have since removed some of the language in the proposed bill in terms of their capacity element, which was the sticking point. So I'm encouraged going forward with that bill that we've been able to reach some accommodation. So that's that bill, and I think that's moving forward. There is a funding bill for victim advocates. This has been generated primarily from the Ramos decision and the state counterpart to it, because there is a recognition, and also there's a recognition in the co-chair's budget bill that this will have an impact on DA's offices. The cases which are being remanded from the Ramos and state based counterpart decision. We have 2 of those cases ourselves that just came back, and there may be more. I have the question whether we retry those older cases that have come back, and the primarily older child abuse and sex abuse cases. There's a recognition of the impact on victims advocates. And so there's a funding mechanism that passed that was considered, and I don't know whether it's got a work session yet, to provide funding to counties to provide additional victim advocates that could assist with that, but other cases as well. Polk County, we are fortunate that we pay for victims advocates through the general fund and grant funding as well. So we're better than other counties are in terms of not having some victims advocates or just 1 or 2 victims advocates, but this would provide the ability to hire additional victim advocates as well. So I think that has certainly support conceptually among legislators, and that I no doubt would pass through the Judiciary Committee if it hasn't already in the work session. We'll go down to Ways and Means for additional work. So that's another bill that would impact directly our county in terms of funding and resources. I'm going to finish up. I talked about Crime Victim Rights Week already, but I'm going to finish up by talking about the levy process. I've been fortunate to work with Commissioner Wardhorse. We've been to several different city councils. We were at Salem last night, and the Rotary and other groups, and with the sheriff. And I dare say, I'd certainly defer to the commissioner on this. I think that the reception has been very, very positive. So, and I think my push has been to other electeds, get the word out to folks that may be new to the area, what the public safety investment, how positive it's been, how different the world would be if we don't get that levy passed. And so I think I've taken enough time of my talking. I'm happy to open the questioning to you.
I don't have anything specific, victims advocates bill, keeping an eye on, that's something that AOC supported
I should think so.
fairly unanimously. I actually unanimously. I appreciate the review on that. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Thanks also for your advocacy for the levy, and Commissioner Morhorst, you too. I agree. It's very important we pass that. So thank you.
Right, well, in order to find. Thank you.
Any non-listed items?
Yes, indeed. So you have a letter in front of you that I have drafted to the House Committee on Revenue in support of House Bill 2199. This is supporting enterprise zones and an extension of the sunset for another 10 years. So I don't believe that it changes the essential functions of the enterprise zones. It just changes the period of time. So as another 10 years. If we don't support this and pass this, the enterprise zones, as we've known it, will expire.
I totally support it. I'm willing to sign it today.
I'm willing to sign it too. I am curious though how the Monmouth in the Dallas enterprise zone is as a result of the tax break. Just curious about that, but I'm certainly supportive of it because it does no harm, certainly. And I am curious about its sense.
All of that information can come through the Community Development Director's office.
Don't expect a short answer.
All I have.
Anything else? Nope. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.